following program is intended for mature audiences.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
I just wanted to bring up one, movie-related thing before we get into sports, because I know Greg is into this series. I saw the final Hunger Games movie.
How was it?
I think between the last Hunger Games movie and the second to last Hunger Games movie, there is a single good movie between them.
That's what everybody was concerned about, that making it into two movies. But, you know,
that's what everybody does now.
You got to milk that cash cow, baby.
I actually really liked the last Hunger Games movie because they finally get into all of the politics and war in this setting, which is what interested me because I'm a big fan of dystopian literature. So I was like, I want to know the political system, the political setup. I want to know the intrigue. And then, like, the first two movies kept wasting my time with this Hunger Games bullshit. I'm like, I don't care. I want to see evil president man be a dictator. Well, and I want to see rebellions and stuff. Like, I don't care about the love triangle.
I'm assuming that I'm the only 14-year-old girl here, so I am the only one that's read the books.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
I read all three of the books. This is what's sad. I read the three books before I ever saw any of the movies.
So Greg's a Hunger Game purist. He's like, oh, well, it wasn't as close to the book as I would have liked.
Actually, they were pretty close. They didn't stray too far from the books, honestly.
Who did you ship, Greg? Did you ship
Katniss
Peeta and Katniss? Or,
no, I was more of a Gale guy myself.
Thor's little brother.
Yeah, were you Team Baby Thor?
I was Team Baby Thor all the way.
Although it's interesting because Katniss and Peeta end up together in the end of the story, and what would their
spoilers?
Yeah, Mike, jeez, this movie hasn't been out 3 days.
But my question is, you guys do know what their celebrity couple name would be, right? Peeta and Katniss? Penis.
Oh, God. Team Penis.
Team Penis.
Hashtag penis.
Katta.
No, it was we've gone and seen every single one of them when they came out in the theaters. So, and this was all my doing, not my girlfriend's too. I'm like, hey, you got to check out this Hunger Games thing. It's kind of cool. But speaking of movies, any news on the Star Wars front? Anything new that we should talk about?
They keep releasing all these new trailers and putting in little bits of footage, and I'm stopping watching all the trailers.
It's turning into that one time when the Buffalo Sabres were teasing an alternate jersey.
Oh, God, really?
You could literally piece together the entire movie at this point. They're showing me too much. I don't need to know this much. I just want to enjoy the movie. I want to go see it and enjoy.
I wonder if that's a bad sign that they're doing this.
Trailers today, like, it used to be that, like, okay, if Empire Strikes Back came out today, Luke, I Am Your Father would be in the trailer. That's just how trailers work today.
The last trailer I watched was when the international one came out with all the new footage. It was basically the Monday Night Football trailer, but they added some extra footage in it. That's the last one I've seen, so I haven't been following it since then.
They've added little trailers here and there.
But hopefully it won't hurt anything.
But as far as trailers go, did you see the Civil War trailer, Mike?
No, I haven't seen the Marvel Civil War trailer.
Oh, it came out yesterday.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Okay. I am jumping. I have a feeling it's going to be in the Marvel thread. So allow me to. Jessica Jones. I really don't give a shit about Jessica Jones. I know that's heresy.
It's a big thing on Netflix, and people are all jazzed for it. But I'm kind of over superhero TV shows in general.
Gotham did a lot to sour me to the idea. I'm not going to lie about it.
Yeah, Gotham wasn't great.
Have you guys seen?
Shield's not good.
No, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had so much potential too. It could have been great.
And then Joss Whedon made it a Joss Whedon show. And
everyone has a play, Mike.
Everyone's got a play.
What's S.H.I.E.L.D.'s play?
What's S.H.I.E.L.D.'s play? Everyone's got a play, and everyone has extremely witty dialogue. And I'm sorry, but no, not enough people are witty for everyone on the TV show to be witty. No.
Have you guys, speaking of bad superhero shows, have you seen any of the new Supergirl?
No, I just saw
it is fuck all awful.
I saw the commercial for it, and I was like,
what are we talking about?
Supergirl.
Oh.
Which not exactly a great character to begin with, but I know how I ended up stumbling into, I watched 5 minutes of it the other night, and basically they're stealing the whole setup that the Flash does before every show. I'm Barry Allen, I'm the fastest man alive, blah, blah, blah. And it's that, except that it's not good. It's just dumb. I don't know. I think
there's also too many of these things now. Like, I'm not going to watch Arrow and Flash and Supergirl and Daredevil and Jessica Jones and S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gotham.
Arrow's the biggest fucking scam out of all of them.
It's trying to be Batman, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because they use Ra's al Ghul.
The third season is the plot to Batman Begins.
Right.
Here's the third season of Arrow. Arrow reveals that he spent some time training with Ra's al Ghul in Asia and thought he killed him. Ra's al Ghul returns to Arrow's home city and vows revenge.
I think I've heard that story somewhere before. But I think The Flash is pretty good. I mean, but it doesn't take itself that seriously. That's what I like about it. It's a comic book show, and I think it's well done. But Arrow, I tried to watch some of that. If I want to watch The Dark Knight, I'll watch The Dark Knight.
We're really reaching a point of saturation. I mean, we've talked about this before with all the movies and stuff, but it's too much. You can have 1,000 different comic books because they're not mainstream. They're not going to inundate you with advertising, and they're not going to take up airspace because it's a little sliver of a comic book. And you can like that, and it can be what it is. But with all these movies and stuff, it's like you can't get away from them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, though. You get a little bit of success, and then everybody tries to cash in on it, which is why we've gone from, I don't know, the first Iron Man movie till now. I can't even keep track of all the Marvel movies anymore.
Yeah, well, this Civil War trailer looks really great. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in it, but if you just make it to the end of the trailer, just to see Bucky, Captain America, and Iron Man do a 3-way duel to close out the trailer, it's just like, yeah, I would like to see this. This is what I would like to see.
I still haven't seen the second Avengers yet. Is it worth my time?
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. The first one's better.
The second one tries to, like, good thing about the first Avengers was that it was its own movie. This one is trying really hard to set up for the third one.
Oh, yeah. It's just, this one feels like another piece in the puzzle rather than its own movie.
I mean, Ultron, it doesn't even really get to be his own bad guy. He's just sort of there so they have an excuse to do other things.
He's something for them to punch.
And by the way, I just finished the Civil War trailer. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
The fight at the end?
Yeah. But here's the thing. Going back to what you said earlier, Zach, you're right. Like, this works because they're characters that we know, and the stakes aren't ridiculous. It's just like Superhero Registration Act. Everyone can sort of understand what that is. I think everyone will be able to understand what the sides are. And it's like, okay, this is, we're using superhero movies as an allegory for Patriot Act or gun control or whatever you want. But okay, it's an idea that I can understand. But the problem with it, and I say this as a comic book fan, is that all of these comic book movies are really going to start losing people once they get into the shit that comic books start to do when they run out of good ideas. Which is once they're like, we're going to fight Space God and Space Satan now. And it's like, oh, okay, now you're just stupid.
That's kind of the beauty the movies have had, though, is that they've been able to cherry pick the good stories that have already been played out in the comic books. So like, oh, well, we know this works. So they're going to use those.
They still haven't done a proper Iron Man alcoholism one, though.
I don't think they ever will.
No, they're not going to explore that to the level they could.
I thought that in Iron Man 2, it looked like they were going to start exploring it.
And then
they showed him drinking, and they showed him being like corrupted by the machine. And it's like, oh, he's going to go off the deep end, isn't he? And then he doesn't. And then he's fine because, it's a Disney movie now.
Disney's not going to put out like an introspective Tony Stark movie where he is he is his worst enemy.
Right, but that's the other thing is that's the perfect, like, when they chose Robert Downey Jr., that's why it made so much sense.
Yeah.
And so you thought, oh, it's a no-brainer. They have to go this way, and he'll be able to portray it perfectly. And then they just they touched it for a second, and then they went back to what else? He's cool. He's Iron Man. Iron Man's not an alcoholic. Kids love Iron Man.
Except he is. It's hilarious in that every major Iron Man arc in the comic books involves at least one scene of him getting drunk and like swerving his suit around a city. And like it's just like he's just like flying around the city. He's like, I am Iron Man. Da, 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 da. And he's just like,
yep.
But
okay, that fight's pretty badass.
But
right.
And you know what else Marvel barely touched on with the Iron Man movies? Fighting his arch nemesis. God forbid we get that. God forbid that happens. And in that movie, again, Tony Stark is barely Iron Man in that movie. So Iron Man wasn't Iron Man. The Mandarin wasn't the Mandarin. Nobody was who they were supposed to be in that movie.
Which one? Iron Man 3?
Yes.
That Mandarin thing was just unbelievably stupid.
Awful.
Just stupid.
I was not happy. And then they made War Machine the Iron Patriot, which isn't supposed to how it's... So nobody was who they were supposed to be in that movie.
No.
Yeah.
No, but the thing that I also caught watching that Civil War trailer, it's a Captain America movie in name only.
Yeah.
It's Avengers 2.5.
Basically, yeah. What's going to happen is I'm convinced that in Avengers 3.1, because they're splitting the third Avengers movie up into two, because of course they are.
And the interesting thing with that, though, is the way that they work the contracts. Mm-hmm. Not everyone's going to be in each half of that Avengers movie.
Oh, yeah, which is why I'm convinced that they're going to kill off Tony Stark in the first half. I'm convinced that's going to happen.
Are they going to kill Tony or are they going to kill Cap?
I think they're going to kill both, honestly. I think both are going to die because they've got...
Because in the Civil War comic book, Cap gets shot.
Cap gets killed, yes. Yes.
And then somebody else takes over as Cap for a little bit, and then, of course,
Bucky.
And then or comic book magic. My God, Steve Rogers, you're alive.
Nobody ever stays dead in comic books.
In the current Captain America comics, the Falcon is now Captain America.
Yes.
And they have Bucky and the Falcon in the movies.
They have an out for Iron Man, too, because there was a point in the Iron Man comics where Tony Stark stepped down as Iron Man and he was replaced by James Rhodes as Iron Man. So they could just get, Don Cheadle to be Iron Man for a movie or two if Robert Downey Jr. gets too expensive.
I think you're right, though, Zach. It's too much at this point. We're getting saturated.
And the shame of it is that it's not a clear demarcation. There's still good stuff coming out, like Iron Man, Captain America: Civil War. That's going to be good. I think Batman versus Superman could be good. It could be. Suicide Squad is at least interesting. If not Daredevil, Deadpool, I think looks fun.
Yeah.
So there's still good stuff coming out. It's just it just seems like the ratio of mediocre to bad to good is no longer in good's favor. I haven't gotten around to listening to BAFs yet, but I assume you guys touched on the controversy in the Monday night game.
We touched on it.
I just wanted to bring up the controversy on Monday night because I was talking to my dad about it, and he's got a theory that he insisted I share on the show.
Okay.
Please.
He is convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that Bill Belichick paid off the official.
Which time?
The catch where they didn't stop the clock even though he went out of bounds.
No,
the Sammy Watkins thing with 2 seconds left.
Yeah.
See, I read that the.
Or no, there's that, but then there's also the Amendola inadvertent whistle.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the Watkins one.
But I heard that the official ruled it like you would rule it in college football. He just got confused.
Yeah.
Belichick may have paid him off. I mean, I'm not going to entirely rule out your dad's theory because he listens to the show and I want to be nice.
Well, his theory was, I knew that was a mistake, and I'm the furthest thing from a football official. That was his reasoning.
Well, I got to admit that the Patriots got an interception early in the game. The Bills got an interception. My first words out of my mouth were, how are they going to screw the Bills out of this interception? And sure enough, penalty flag. Offsetting penalties, play doesn't count. So,
now, is it just me, or has this season seen an increase in the number of instances where the NFL has had to come out and say, our officials have fucked up?
Oh, no, it's been a real thing that has been addressed by a few sites. I saw a few articles this week detailing just the amount of penalties we've seen and how ineffective the officials have been.
And when Woody Page, is that the guy's name from Around the Horn?
From Denver, yeah.
When I agree with him, that we're beyond the pale when it comes to the officiating because he's right. You've got to get full-time officials in the NFL. It's too much money involved.
You mean these guys aren't full-time?
No. You didn't know that?
I assume it would be.
No. I mean,
what does Ed Hockley do when he's not an official?
Lifts weights, I think. No, they're not full-time. They have other jobs. All of them. And that's been a thing for years now that, they need to make them full-time officials where that's their job. Like in baseball, the umpires, that's their job. I'm sure in hockey, the officials, that's what they do. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's different when you have an every day of the week type sport. Like,
it doesn't matter though. I mean, it's not like the NFL can't afford to pay these guys to be full-time officials. Come on.
I think we're beyond the point where the NFL rulebook needs to be tweaked. We need a complete revamp. I think 3 things need to be done. And I think if these 3 things were to be done, the officiating would it wouldn't solve all the problems, but I think most of the problems would be solved. 1, they need to come up with a completely new and simple rule as to what constitutes a catch, because I am tired of having this almost philosophical debate almost every week where people are like, what is a catch really?
It used to be simple.
If you caught it.
Catch the ball 2 feet on the ground. Catch. Then we had to deal with the football move. Then we had to deal with completing the process.
An act common to the game.
Yeah, act common to the game, then completing the process. I remember when I was younger that watching football games, I knew that is a catch. This is not a catch. I don't think we have these problems in college, right, Greg? I mean, we watch college games every weekend.
No.
And you get 2 hands on the ball, 1 foot in bounds, catch, done. We don't have discussions about football moves or completing the processes or anything like that.
No. And I think, too, that in the college game, you see far less penalties. When a big play happens, you aren't immediately going, oh, my God, I hope there's not any flags. Because half the time there aren't. I don't know if they're overcalling it in football. I don't know what the deal is in the NFL, I should say. But the difference, as far as entertainment value alone goes, the difference between college and the NFL, the gap is widening every year. The college game is just so much more fun to watch because you know what's going on. And if you see somebody make a great catch, you don't have to wait 20 minutes to have people sit down and figure it out. Here's an idea I have for solving the catch problem, okay? We go back to making it a judgment call. 3 officials watch the replay, and if 2 of them agree it's a catch, it's a catch. Or, you know what I mean? Majority rules. And just let common sense carry the day instead of trying to... Because every time you try to fix it to make it easier to understand, it becomes that much more complicated. It's just ridiculous.
We need a simpler definition of what constitutes a catch, and my suggestion for what that would be is, did he catch the ball? Was it a catch? It's very simple.
Well, take the Calvin Johnson player where this all got started against the Bears a few years back. Explain to me how what he did was not a catch, but all you've got to do is just get the ball over the end line for just a second, and it's a touchdown if you're running the ball. If it gets smacked out of your hands, it doesn't matter across the line. That's it. The play isn't complete at that point.
I've always thought that was funny too. Running back, just break the plane. But if a receiver catches the ball 2 hands at that instant, it should be a touchdown. If we're going by the same set of rules.
The officiating, well, it's always been horrible, but it's just reached a new low now. Sometimes the NFL is just unbearable. It's just unwatchable. You just go, I can't take any more of this.
The other thing I brought out of that Monday night game that I forgot to bring up on the football show. Did you guys hear Tom Brady's audible?
What was it?
Rex Ryan! Rex Ryan! Rex Ryan! They asked him about it after the game. He's like, no, just one of our calls.
The audible call of Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan, can you talk about that?
We've used a lot of things in the past. We got a lot of unusual terms. I think we run the gamut. So, we got to get creative and think of different things. So that one's pretty unique.
I guess the last NFL thing, continuing on our weekly theme, Color Rush. This last week we had the Pajama Titans versus the Oscar Gold Jaguars. What are your thoughts upon seeing them on the field?
I think both jerseys work well as alternates and should have been paired with white pants.
Oh, I think the Jags, well, of course, you've always got to take the helmet into consideration, but normal helmet with that jersey and white pants, that's a killer look, if you ask me.
And you know what, though? I don't think the helmet looks as bad with the gold jersey. It's still awful, still god-awful, but it looked not as terrible.
I agree. I see what you're saying there. I have to agree. A gold helmet, either one, or a black helmet with that gold jersey and white pants, that's a killer look. And I'm not supposed to like modern uniforms, but I think it would look awesome.
And so we move into this week where we have the all light blue Panthers and the white throwback double-starred Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys are going to look good. Are they have stripes on the pants, or are they just all white? Do we know?
No, they have stripes.
Oh, that's going to look real good, I think.
Yeah, here is the Cowboys jersey in full.
All right, let's have a look here. That's going to look really good.
Granted, the Cowboys is the best looking one because it's the one that most looks like a real football uniform.
Right. It's not really even color rush. It's a throwback. The Cowboys are kind of skirting this a little bit.
I'm hoping that the other teams with good uniforms figure out a way to do this too.
And then here is the Panthers. Panthers look fine too.
Did you see this post where somebody put up a picture of Spock and Kirk with
Yeah.
I'm stealing that right now.
I mean, the Panthers look fine, but I don't know. I still think their blue tops look much better with silver pants.
Well, yeah. Again, when it comes to the entirety of this color rush nonsense, this is probably the least offensive game.
Oh, yeah, no, this is going to be much better. Bucks-Rams, I think, could be interesting, but I don't have high hopes.
Just because the Rams will be doing the gold throwback, I think, that helps it not be...
Yeah, but we're going to be saying the same thing, though. We're going to be saying if they had worn white pants with it, it would look a lot better.
Yeah.
The 103rd Grey Cup has been set. The Edmonton Eskimos are playing the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Yeah!
Grey Cup. Ottawa Red Blacks scoring a late-game touchdown to shock my CFL team, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, in the CFL Eastern Finals.
Did I not pick a winner here or what? Everybody laughed at me last year when I picked the Red Blacks as my team, and look at me go.
It's infuriating because Red Blacks is spelled in all capitals in every instance on the CFL main page.
That's because it's not just Red, it's Red Blacks. Yes! Like that, see? They're awesome, man.
Yeah,
Finally, Greg gets a pro football championship.
The Ottawa Red Blacks.
I'll take it.
If they can beat Edmonton,
the Packers?
Yeah, don't you Packers?
Actually, if you want to get technical, I've got two with the Packers because when the Browns left in '95, I declared on my old radio show that I was now a Packers fan because they couldn't go anywhere. But yeah. Somebody even brought that up and said we should talk about this because of my fandom of the Red Blacks.
Yeah,
I couldn't name a single player on the team.
They played Hamilton in the Eastern Finals, and now they play Edmonton, who has coasted really under the radar as far as this whole native-themed mascot controversy has gone. Nobody really talks about the Edmonton Eskimos.
You know, you never think about it, but that's a good point. Eskimos are like Native Americans.
It should be Edmonton Inuit.
Yeah, or something like that. I have one more question about the Red Blacks, and then we can move on to the NBA stuff here. Are the Red Blacks rocking the plaid helmets?
They weren't rocking the plaid helmets, but they did have an interesting uniform setup in the Eastern Finals against Hamilton. They wore their standard black helmets, their standard black jerseys, but they wore their alternate pants that had the plaid pattern down the side.
Cool. What color were the pants?
Black. So it was monochrome black, but there was red and black plaid down the side.
They got to rock the plaid helmets, man. Come on.
I think those are no longer a thing. They couldn't find a way to make the plaid decals work.
Okay.
I don't think Ottawa needs to go with plaid helmets, but they really do need to play the plaid up.
Yeah, at least in a stripe or something, right? Like on the pants stripe, yeah. A helmet stripe like North Carolina does and a couple other teams. Speaking of that, the North Carolina, man, those uniforms looked awesome last week. But this is what, the Red Blacks' second season of existence? Mm-hmm. And they're already in the Grey Cup Championship. Look at that.
Greg gets to say that his favorite CFL team has beaten my favorite CFL team in the CFL playoffs. And it was a good game, actually. It was a good game. It was very back and forth. And then Ottawa just won on a late touchdown. And I wouldn't be so sad about it, except that this is like the second year in a row now that the Hamilton Tiger Cats have lost postseason games on just heartbreaking plays.
Sounds like the Ticats are the CFL version of the Browns, sort of here.
We have a championship within the lifetime of most
within recorded history.
They recorded it. I think it was like the late 80s or early 90s. I think last time the Ticats won the Grey Cup. But
go Red Blacks! Take out the Edmonton Packers.
The Edmonton Packers.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, I think we want to talk a little bit about the NBA, huh?
Have you heard about the record that's been set and how scary the Golden State Warriors look this season?
Aren't they on pace to like match one of Jordan's Bulls teams?
The Golden State Warriors have started out the NBA season 16-0.
Wow.
16-0.
That is tough to do in the NBA, man.
In some of these games, they've been down big. They were down 20 to the Clippers. They were down 10 in the fourth quarter to the Clippers and ended up beating them by like 8.
Yeah, but that's not impressive because they did it against the Clippers.
I mean, Clippers going to clip. Clippers going to clip.
And just Steph Curry unconscious right now. And you compare that to the Philadelphia 76ers, who are 0-15.
16-0. So let's see. They play 82 games, so they would have to do to tie the Bulls' 72-10 record. They'd have to go what at this point? Let's see.
They'd have to go
56-10 from here, right?
Yeah.
Damn. That gives you a really good idea of how impressive that Bulls team was. They've already started out 16-0. They still have to play at a ridiculous 56-10 clip just to tie the record.
Do you think they could do it?
Man, I don't know. I mean,
they're shooting the lights out. They're absolutely unreal right now. Anytime that you can catch the Warriors on TV, do it. It's just amazing. Like their teamwork, their passing, it's amazing. They're like the perfect new age NBA team.
Think about that in terms of like hockey, like how hard it would be to win 16 straight.
It looks like they're on. I mean, it's still early, obviously, but it looks like they're on a collision course with the Cleveland LeBrons, and this is all just a false calm. The NBA East will be won by we the North.
Because we're talking about the NBA, the last thing I want to put out there for that, just look at the picture at the top of this article.
Okay.
And this will tell you everything that's wrong with NBA uniforms.
Yeah.
Yep. I saw this earlier today.
You get the black Clippers jersey with that horizon, of course, calling back to their nautical roots, if you remember, with the number underneath that logo. And the other side is an all-white sleeved Denver Nuggets team with the cross pickaxe logo with the number underneath it.
A uniform that is completely devoid of the color scheme of the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, there's some light blue on the collar.
And you know what else is funny too is that the blue, the royal blue, and the Clippers logo, it just gets eaten alive by all the black on that jersey. You can barely see it.
So you can't see the C that forms the shape of a basketball court, but it's also the city surrounding Los Angeles.
Whatever that means.
I'm looking at those Clippers jerseys again. You know what they look like?
Shit.
Like rec league jerseys. They look exactly like you would see at a YMCA.
That chess logo could easily be like Los Angeles Community Center or something. Like that they just like screen printed onto a bunch of different jerseys, and that's just for like the black team.
Didn't the NBA start screen printing on the Authentics because it's lighter?
Yeah, they did.
Like the authentic jerseys are screen printed, but the replicas are sewn on.
Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, they had some great battles, but just imagine what they could have done if they weren't being weighed down.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs!
Wow, Mike.
That was really vicious.
That was vicious, yes, absolutely.
Just a quick note that the 3 Philadelphia professional sports teams that are currently in season, the Sixers, Flyers, and Eagles.
And they all suck?
They're all terrible. Like, just all dumpster fires.
None of them have won a home game in the month of November. The Sixers are 0-6, Flyers 0-4, Eagles 0-2 in the City Blue.
And Chip Kelly, apparently nobody likes him. Players who are, apparently pretending to be hurt so they don't have to play for Chip Kelly.
Remember back when he was just the flavor of the month and he was going to be the next big thing and all that?
Remember when Colin Kaepernick was the next big thing? I mean, I think it goes for coaches, too, as well as players. You have a coach with a new system that everyone hasn't seen before. It catches on. You get a season or two out of it, but then once, the other coaches start getting game film, you're pretty much screwed.
Speaking of the NFL, a funny thing happened in San Francisco today. Blaine Gabbert, the current starting quarterback for your 49ers.
Yeah.
Unleash the beast that is Blaine Gabbert.
Well, he had a press conference today. Nobody showed up. He was the only one in the room.
That's amazing.
The 49ers forgot to put it on the media's schedule.
Oh, sure.
They did
Forgot
forget.
to put it on the team media schedule. So Gabbert walks into the room, sees there's nobody there, sits down in the press chair, asks a question, then goes up to behind the podium, answers his own question, and then goes back and sits, and did that like twice and then left.
I don't think they forgot anything.
No, they didn't.
Poor guy.
You know what? He's better than Colin Kaepernick.
That ain't saying much these days.
Yeah, no.
Have you heard about this Amazon series that's coming up on Amazon Prime called Man in the High Castle?
I have. I started watching
yes.
the pilot the other night, but I didn't finish it.
For those that don't know, it's a show about basically what would have happened if the Nazis won World War II, and it takes place in a Nazi America.
Run by Pat Buchanan.
Well, these were the ads that Amazon put in New York subways
This never works when they try this shit.
They took the subway seats and they plastered them with American flags, but instead of stars, it's the Nazi eagle and cross.
This is a great case of like some intern in a boardroom coming up with an idea and like just not thinking it through to its obvious.
Because like you have to, if you look at the picture, you have to equate the Nazi American flags on the chairs with the ad up on the wall. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what that is, then people are going to say, why are there Nazi propaganda flags all over our subways?
Yeah. Just turns out that the Aryan Brotherhood just, caped New York.
This subway car is sponsored by the Aryan Brotherhood. This shit never works.
You know what? If you want to advertise your show, just have a poster.
Or just say, hey, here's this cool show about what if the Nazis had won the war. Make it a little easier to figure out. Because it's an ad. People aren't going to spend an hour trying to go, well, let's see. Okay, this makes... All right, I get it. They're not going to do that.
That was entertainment. Now I'm going to have some sports, and then we're going to finish off with some sports and entertainment. Forbes magazine released its yearly franchise values. And for years, despite sucking, Mike, your Maple Leafs had been number one on the list every year.
Of overall franchises or NHL franchises?
NHL franchises.
Okay.
This year, there's a new number one.
Well, okay.
Oh.
My guess is the Chicago Blackhawks.
I'm going to guess the New York Rangers.
Correct.
Mike, well done.
$1.2 billion for your New York Rangers. Number two is the Montreal Canadiens, $1.18 billion. And the Leafs fell from first to third at $1.15 billion.
How did you guys let that happen, Mike? I'm disappointed.
This is all Lou's fault. I'm blaming it on Lou.
One of the things they note in the little blurb about them, the 2-spot drop in the rankings is driven by several factors, including the Maple Leafs have only been in the playoffs once since 2006, and the team's 13-year sellout streak was broken last March.
I don't blame the fans. So,
who do you think is the NHL's least valuable franchise?
Florida Panthers.
Correct, Greg.
Hey.
$190 million.
Wow.
That still seems much. It was
it's a little overpriced.
When you think about you have the Rangers, Habs, and Leafs all above $1 billion, and then you have the Panthers at 1/10 of that.
Where do the Coyotes rank in comparison?
I'm going to say
Coyotes are the second least valuable franchise, $220 million. There's 6 teams that are under $300 million worth. Arizona, Carolina, second to last, $230.
Okay.
Columbus is $230. Nashville's $260. Tampa Bay is $260. This is one surprises me. Mm-hmm. The last team under $300 million worth, the St. Louis Blues.
Really?
$270.
Here's what's always fascinating about the Blues. The Blues always seem to have a solid fan base. They always seem to, do well in a broad sense. They always seem to get fans in the building. Like, you never hear of attendance issues with the Blues. But yet, somehow, they're always struggling financially.
Yeah, it really makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it all...
They don't play a new...
My hot take from a few weeks ago? St. Louis is just a shitty sports town? Other than the Cardinals, they're kind of a crappy sports
town. Well, you know what? If the Cardinals ran off a streak of like 5 years in a row finishing in last place, the same thing would happen with them. Even
how
3
dare
years.
you put that on the best fans of baseball, Greg?
Because...
I have it on good authority from the best fans in baseball, Greg, that the Kansas City Royals are not the world champions. It is, in fact, the St. Louis Cardinals, even though they were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs.
I know, but they won the most games, you see. And that's
they won the most games, so... But so suddenly that matters, not when they backed into the playoffs and then cardinaled their way to a championship a few years back.
Well, they gave all the trophies and rings back from those, you see.
Oh, I did they? Okay.
They stood on principle and did the right thing.
And they all golf clapped while they did it.
Yeah.
Last thing I have, coming soon to a Los Angeles stage from the producers that brought you Cruel Intentions, the musical, and the unauthorized OC musical, the Friday Night Lights musical. Playing the role of Coach Eric Taylor, Jason Street.
God.
You're making this up, right?
No, I'm not making it up, Craig.
Oh, no.
Why did anyone feel the need to make an unauthorized OC musical?
Because
no one would authorize it.
I know you're not you probably weren't into the show at all, Mike, but Greg, you liked Friday Night Lights.
Thought it was okay, yeah. I've seen the entire series, yeah.
I haven't seen the whole series. I've seen a few episodes. I have to say, despite the fact that it's, Texas and I'm just a simple Canuck, I found myself strangely able to, relate, because it's like you replace Texas with Ontario, and high school football with, junior hockey. And it's pretty much the same stuff.
Basically what you're saying, they could have taken this show, put it, for
On the
Canadian
ice.
audiences, flipped it, and made it the London Panthers.
Friday Night Ice.
Friday Night Ice, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Friday
I
Night
mean,
Ice.
I mean,
It's a $1 million idea waiting to happen, boys.
I mean, so all you really need to do, you could have Connor McDavid the musical. I mean, that's possible.
Connor McDavid.
Musical. It would be this really sad music when he gets drafted by Edmonton.
That would be his really down into that would be that point in the musical where the hero is just depressed.
Well, here's my other question for you then. What sports show or movie would be best translated into musical form?
I'm thinking that Sports Night. That would make a good musical, right?
Aaron Sorkin writing a musical.
Yeah.
We have Walk and Talks Through the Aisles.
Yeah, there you go.
Walk and
Walk and
Sing
sings through the aisles. Yeah, come on.
What about in light of the new movie that's out this weekend? What about Rocky? Rocky could be musical.
Could you see a chorus version of Yo Adrian, I Did It?
Yo, Adrian, I did it.
Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, Rocky 4 is almost half musical with the Living in the USA scene.
Draft Day. There you go. There's a musical.
Draft Day, the music.
Kevin Costner is Kevin Costner gets
Shall I take the linebacker or the quarterback? Come on, that would be awesome.
Someone get Andrew Lloyd Webber on this.
Now we're talking.
He did try making a Phantom of the Opera sequel, and it was terrible.
I saw Phantom of the Opera at the theater, believe it or not.
And Phantom of the Opera was fantastic.
I had no earthly idea what was going on, but I'm like, this is kind of cool.
Phantom of the Opera is fantastic. The sequel that he wrote is less so.
Was it Phantom of the Carryout or something, or what?
Basically, it was called Love Never Dies, and the premise is that the Phantom, at the end of the Phantom of the Opera, escapes Paris, hitches a ride to New York.
Oh, brother.
And becomes a mob boss on Coney Island.
Yeah, I can see why that didn't work.
It's so stupid. But I still think it's a better premise than Friday Night Lights the musical.
Full hearts, clear eyes.
Can't lose.
Can't lose.
Can't lose. This could work, I think.
Are they actually going to try to simulate an actual game on stage?
Well, it'll be a dance number.
Oh,
The
okay.
game's a dance number.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, are we done?
That's
I'm
all I
done.
got.
All right, you guys know the routine by now. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. The website is basicallyasportshow.com. We're on the Spreaker. We're on the iTunes. We're on the Stitcher. We're on the YouTubes. We are everywhere. And with that, we're going to call it a night.
Later.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.